So just think about that for a moment. The relationship that you are in. If for all the little instances that you can consider an interaction, how many of them are positive relative to how many of them are negative?
This is the Deep Dive with Adam Roa.
How many of them feel like they are filling up your cup and lighting you up and expanding you? And how many of them feel like they're contracting you and making you feel a bit like shut down in your relationship? And so they said in their research that 20-1, like that's where you want to be, like getting up to there, but the minimum is 5-1. And to me, as someone who's been in these sorts of like breakups over the past couple of years, I really was paying attention to my new relationship and noticing how many of them have this really positive, how many interactions I have with her that are incredibly positive. And those can look like a smile from across the room. Those can look like a hug, unsolicited, just like giving a hug out of nowhere. Those can look like a compliment. Those can look like a supportive conversation, right? These little interactions. Whereas these charged statements or things that can be said, like you're so selfish. A statement like that would be considered a negative interaction. A defensiveness is like, I don't do that. You always do that. Another what would be considered a negative interaction, right? And I'm paying attention to that because at the end of my last relationship, what was happening was that it got to a place where more of the interactions were actually negative. There were more interactions that I was having where it felt like I was judgmental or I was afraid of being judged. There were statements of what I didn't want to do with the person rather than statements of what I did want to do with the person. There was a lack of physical touch. There was actually feelings of like when I was being physically touched at the time, I was going through so much physically too with my detoxing and working on my PTSD that it was like being touched physically was something that actually triggered me. And had me feel upset and unsafe. And so that aspect, that ratio shifted. Okay. And so it's something for you to pay attention to. When people are in unhealthy relationship dynamics, even abusive relationship dynamics, think about this just, even if it's not for yourself, how often they might be moving through their relationship on eggshells, constantly feeling like their partner is just telling them that they're not enough, that they're not worthy, that they're ugly, that they're stupid. Like that happens for people. For some of you, that might be your reality. How often do you get that smile, that wink, that supportive statement, that compliment? And so in the research, 5 positive interactions for each 1 negative interaction as a baseline. But it doesn't have to be perfect all the time. If you're at 7-1 or 8-1, you're actually doing okay. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world. You can improve that, and I would suggest that you try.